get ready to make this beauty at home. We are making famous pistachio-filled Turkish baklava, havuç baklava with an easy method. Please don't compare it with ready filo sheets. This recipe will probably be the best one to try with a basic skill to compete with the baklava masters who need more than 5 years to become a master. So let's make it. For the recipe, I'm gonna use half of the amount on my baklava dough. So I have 1/4 of a cup each water, milk and vegetable oil. Going to add half egg. I whisked it lightly, just eyeballing, adding half of the mixture. And to that I'm adding close to 2 cups of flour. We have baklava flour special that has a high protein amount, but it is also possible to make it with all-purpose flour. Added 1 teaspoon baking powder and going to knead my dough until I have a nice, smooth, unsticky dough. If it needs, you can always add a little bit flour if needed. My dough is ready. As you can see, it's very less. We didn't use much ingredient. And this time I'm going to make only one layer with pistachios. And for that I'm gonna cut my dough first into half and each half into 10 pieces. And with the help of the countertop that doesn't have any starch, so it can stick a little bit, make a nice round with the pieces. To separate the batches, this time I used plate that I sprinkled wheat starch and continue to shape the other pieces. It is always better to cover it to prevent them drying out. Since we're gonna work with the starch, you can also dip them to the starch and wait for 15 minutes to rest. And beginning from the first batch, I'm gonna roll out my doughs. It's very easy, my friends, don't be scared of the steps. I'm giving all the details for you to make it successful. But believe me, it's not that hard. Just roll it out into a salad plate size, about 20 centimeters, and cover it with a nice thick starch. And continue with the other 9 pieces. My first batch is done, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the second one. But I realized when I make this recipe, it is better to work right away with the rolled out dough batches and then continue with the second batch, because when it waits, the starch layers between each sheet can dampen and lose its powderness. I'm gonna show you in a moment what happened with the second batch. So that's why it is better to work one by one. So I'm rolling out my first batch, all the layers together. You can flip some of the layers from time to time to check if they stick or not. I need to make it bigger than the size of my pan. I have a little bit more to go. And as I talked about in the previous episode with the walnut baklava recipe, if you don't have this thin oklava, you can do it only with rolling pin. It's very easy. But to make it a little bit closer to the ones that the baklava masters make, I wanted to use some oklava also to show you, because when you roll it out with the oklava, it creates some air between the sheets rather than pressing only with the rolling pin, and then it is easier to take out the sheets one by one. And here it is. It is big enough. Just cut out the excess dough. We're gonna use it for the inner layers. I have nice round set of sheets here, and going to separate couple of pieces and begin to place them to my baking pan. And when you separate the sheets again, since it creates some air, your baklava will be more lighter. But if you cannot, just don't worry. You will still end up with a nice baklava that is homemade by you, and it's still gonna be delicious. So after I roll out to make it a thinner, the side ones, and place it on top of the sheets, I continue to work with the other ones, separating them as much as I can. You see how thin it is. You can see the towel. It's really fun to make. And if there is excess starch in the sheets, you can pat them to get rid of them, because we don't want the excess starch, just enough so it stays crunchy. And sprinkle good amount of pistachio layer. I used about 200 grams. And here is what I'm talking about. My second batch, the starch was very damp and it wasn't powdery anymore, so I shake them out and sprinkled another layer of starch and continue with the other steps. So I would recommend layer the starch after you make the bottom layer, the first batch. Here I want to show you another technique that the baklava masters make. You roll out each sheet one by one to the oklava, and this way you separate the layers even more easier, and you can always sprinkle a little bit more starch between the layers. When you first look at it, it seems more detailed work, but actually it is not. It is kind of easier than separating them one by one by hand. So to give you an idea, if you want to try it one day, I wanted to show you, and it really worked. This is my probably the first time making it too this way. As you can see, you roll out one by one and then open them again after rolling out a little bit to make it bigger. And this way you are making sure that all layers are separated. I wanted to work with 5 of them and continue to make my top layers. I would suggest at least try to separate a couple of layers for the top, final top, to create that traditional domed layered baklava look. Before I cut my baklava, I am securing from the sides. And to give the havuç baklava look, which means carrot, I cut the baklava first into 4 and each section into 4 again. Use a sharp knife so you don't press the layers, and pour hot melted butter over the baklava. Make sure you get rid of the foam part after melting the butter. I gave more details about these steps on my previous baklava recipe. Here is another small but powerful hint for the look. Is after cutting and pouring the butter, separate each pieces and try to bend them a little bit from the sides to create dome on each piece, and this helps to rise the phyllo sheets more evenly with a nice dome in the center. And bake in the preheated 170 Celsius degree oven for 30 minutes. Lower the temperature to 160 and continue to bake until it is golden color on top and bottom. For the syrup, I'm boiling 2 cups of sugar and 1 plus 1/4 of a cup water along with small lemon wedges and half teaspoon lemon juice. Cover until it is boiled on medium high and continue to cook on medium low until it thickens. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes, depends on the heat, and you check the last drops. As you can see, it should be heavy, oozing drops. This is how we understand. After this point, you can turn off the heat, but we will reheat it before pouring it to our baklava. I checked my baklava after I had some colors on top. The bottom was still more whiter than the top, so I put it to a lower rack and I lowered the temperature to 160 and continued to bake for about 1 hour and 20 minutes in total until I have a nice golden color. It's time to pour our hot syrup over hot baklava. At least give it a rest for 1 hour and then it will be ready to enjoy. As a final touch, I wanted to sprinkle some more pistachios on top. And now I want to show you closer the crunchy layers and the sound of it. So my friends, I hope you give it a try. Don't think that it's a lot of work compared to the traditional one. It is really an easier alternative to make at home. I would also suggest you to watch my walnut baklava recipe, which is a traditional one. I gave lots of details in that video too. By the way, I'm excited to announce you that I'm also planning to make baklava classes online with a small group, and as an Eid gift, I would like to give 2 free tickets for the online class. The details are in the description box. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in another delicious Turkish food recipes and travel vlogs. Afiyet olsun.